Tens of thousands of homes in England and Wales are still cut off from power supplies after Storm Eunice. Nearly 80,000 homes in England and Wales are still cut off from power supplies in the wake of Storm Eunice. The southwest and the southeast are likely to be the last to be reconnected. And now another storm, Franklin, is on its way. James Reynolds reports.
In South Manchester, the Environment Agency has issued a risk-to-life flood warning. It will evacuate hundreds of homes in the East Didsbury area. Pravin Gorajala and his son have come out to check the water level for themselves.
Our house is just pretty much on the edge of the river, so we're probably at quite high risk of any flooding, if there is any, hopefully not.
In the west of England, more than 20,000 properties remain without power.
Thank you so much.
Caroline Bullock and her 91-year-old mother Kathleen have had to rely on the help of neighbours.
Friends have been fantastic in bringing us thermoses of hot water for hot water bottles to keep my mother warm.
The village of Wadhurst in Kent lost power on Friday morning. Repairs are slow. 80-year-old Carol Robbins hasn't had any official help.
Normally, at someone my age, they term me as vulnerable, so they would ring or send text, but I've heard nothing from anyone. So I have no means of finding out, other than other people, when it might come back on.
These pictures of rising water levels were taken today in Bakewell, near the River Wye in the Derbyshire Dales. Storm Eunice will now be followed by Storm Franklin.
The Met Office has issued another amber weather warning. This is for Storm Franklin. It's actually for the north coast of Northern Ireland, and it's valid from midnight tonight until 7 a.m. Monday morning, where we're going to see potential gusts of winds in excess of 80 miles an hour. But I also want to stress that we could see damaging gusts of winds once again across southern Scotland, northern England and parts of Wales.
In Omagh in Northern Ireland, water levels have risen, and the wider area now braces for the strong winds of Storm Franklin. James Reynolds, BBC News.
Well, more now on what is yet to come. Northern Ireland is expected to bear the brunt of that new storm, Franklin.
48 hours after London's first ever red weather warning, the Met Office recommends caution as more structural and other damage is possible with the imminent arrival of Storm Franklin. Although not as powerful as Friday's storm, they say buildings and trees could be weakened, so caution needs to be exercised. Here's Tara Welsh.
Whether travelling by car, train, bus or on foot, it felt at times impossible to get anywhere as Storm Eunice hit on Friday. The advice then was to stay at home. Now there are more warnings, but less severe.
And what we've got to remember is that we've just seen Eunice, and that has weakened buildings. We're still recovering from Eunice. There is still probably some damage around. There's probably still potentially some debris on the road. So as Franklin comes in during the course of the night and early part of tomorrow, that could easily kind of be blown around again. So there will be just more risks than a normal kind of system.
The yellow weather warning is in place until tomorrow afternoon. That means further periods of very strong winds with possible damage to trees and roof tiles, possible travel cancellations and a small chance of power cuts. The yellow warning came in at noon and there's been some travel disruption, but on the whole London seems to be moving. But as we've seen with this weather, things can quickly change.
We're keeping a very strong eye on weather forecasts, particularly for tomorrow, and putting preparations in place. We expect to run a very good service tomorrow, but the weather may get in the way. And my strong advice to passengers is check before you travel tomorrow morning.
Strong gusts are expected to hit the capital just in time for rush hour in the morning. It's hoped we're past the worst of it, but this extraordinary weather spell isn't over yet. Tara Welsh, BBC London.
Well, the O2 Arena has announced that it will remain closed until Friday due to part of its roof being blown away by Storm Eunice, while in an area of northwest London, residents who were last year hit by flooding experienced further damage during the storm. Frankie McCamley has this report.
On Kilburn High Road, a row of houses destroyed as Storm Eunice hit. What was the roof, now rubble on the ground. The falling bricks have caused irreversible damage.
Just basically poured down.
This neighbour was at home when it happened.
The whole room, the whole house suddenly shuddered, and there was this immense crash. It just sounded like a really powerful bang. I didn't have any idea what it was. Thought maybe it had a bus come off the street or something like that. And we looked at the window. We looked outside, and we could see that some of the wires above you here were down. And we thought, oh, is the phones going to be affected?
But when he came outside, he saw the true extent of the damage.
That was when I saw all the rubble in the street and this big cloud of dust billowing up. It was just surreal. It was just that it's not a sight you expect to see. I mean, yeah, it's windy, but you don't expect half a building to fall down.
Many of the residents on this road had just started rebuilding their lives following the floods last year that destroyed so many of these homes. But now this, yet another blow, and so many of these residents are evacuated yet again. Further north by Highgate Woods, a female passenger in her 30s was killed when a tree fell on the car she was in. The driver, a man also in his 30s, was taken to hospital. In West London, the owner of this car described how lucky he felt after just avoiding falling bricks crushing his vehicle. Damage has been widespread across the capital. London Fire Brigade has declared a major incident as the clean-up operation continues. Frankie McCamley, BBC London.